Hey, what's up everybody? Eduardo Talbert here with monstertutorials.com. I hope you are doing great. Over here, it's finally cooled down. It was in the 90s last week and now it's high 60s. Weather's great, it's sunny. So I decided to call this video easy specimen jars or easy jars, or creepy jars, but as long as they are easy. And the reason is this. That is my jar of eyeballs. That tutorial is below. And this thing took me about 3 hours to put together. So if you have a nice little scene and you want a shelf full of jars at 3 hours each, it's just time prohibitive. I even had a guy ask me if I would make 70 jars for his haunt. And I said, look, it takes me 3 hours per jar. It'll take me forever. It doesn't matter how much you offer. It's not very efficient time-wise. So what we're doing today are the jars that will supplement this guy. So you spend your 3 hours on this one, which you set up front, and then you have the easy ones in the back that are not as detailed. And you can be as detailed as you want, depending how much time and resources you have. And this goes with my philosophy of when you have a scene, whether it's for a little movie or a haunt, or you have set up your little garage walkthrough scary thing, you put your nice props up front so that if somebody examines it, all the detail is there. Your nice teeth, your nice eyes with fangs and everything. But if it's something that is 15 feet away or 30, 40 feet away, reduce the amount of detail, and that'll save you money and time. So here in the house, on the things that are far, so when people come to visit, this will be front and center, whereas this cutout will go in a window in the second floor. So from 40 feet away, you can see the silhouette. You don't spend much time, you don't spend any money, little effort, and a very effective and creepy prop. So this is easy jars. Let's get started. Oh yeah, this is my new studio. I'm so excited. I haven't set it up yet. All you see right now is the couch. But I'm setting up all around slowly, and as I promised, I will give you a tour as soon as it's done. Right now it's kind of pieced together with all kinds of used stuff I found around the house. Alright, let's get started with the jars. Alright, between the couch and here, I went all the way to the Dollar Tree and came back. It seems that I spent all my money there. Dollar Tree, if you're watching this, give me a call. So I went and got some things for the jars. The main thing is if you're gonna do creepy jars or any containers, I use spaghetti sauce jars, any glass container really. So I have little bottles, jars. I found test tubes at Michael's. So pretty much anything clear. So at the dollar store I got this. It's like a vase, I think, or like a giant beer glass. And I got this little aquarium looking thing. The first kind of jar that I like, and it's super easy to do, is just animals, the little toy animals. So yes. So I usually rate my kids' toys when they don't play with them anymore. I also check out at the Goodwill and definitely at the dollar store. Check it out. I have some giant beetle. See, that's about the size of a hand. Grasshopper. And when I do like this, I found this frog at the Goodwill. I just stuffed it in there. It looks like a real frog. And you can make it a wet specimen or a dry specimen. This one's dry, and I just let it sit there. We gotta supplement it with some labels, and I'll show you that in a minute. So first, easy way is just buy some bugs. Actually, I love bugs. I have roaches. I bought a whole bag of roaches. I have a bag of spiders, worms, mice, and so on. And those look cool when you put them in a jar and put it with your other jars. Now the coolest thing I found out, and you're gonna love this, I'll give you a minute to see if you can figure it out. This jar, you see that it's like a deformed head with a face, and it's pushing against it. Do you know what that is? I'll give you 1 second, see if you can guess. this I found is the coolest thing because of the shape that it takes. It's just these grow toys. So see that little skull? That's what that used to be. Right, and as it grew into this spice jar, it took that face. So I'm going to put a label on this one, like some sort of like a human specimen. I also got this one. It's a little skeleton. These two I ordered online from the Dollar Tree because somebody went and bought them all and they didn't have any. So at the Dollar Tree, when I went earlier, I got a zombie foot and a zombie hand. So we'll try these and see how they work. I also have a grow in water snake. So all these are grow in water toys. And we'll put those together in a minute. And through the magic of television or camera or whatever, we'll do like a time lapse to see how they grow in the jars. For this first one, I have a pasta sauce jar left over. I just removed the label and washed it. And we're going to do the snake. So the snake is going to probably be a little small for this, but I still want it to have some room and look kind of creepy. So what you can do with these, you're going to change the shape pretty much, but you can slice them and cut them and give different shapes. So I cut the tail in half, so it has two tails now. And other than that, what you can do is cut them out so it's open, because this thing will swell up with water and it will get really deformed. Alright, so I cut a mouth into it, as you can see. I don't know if you can see it there. And now I'm just going to cut some of the scales and lift them up because they get all fluffy. There you go. This has a bunch of cuts all over. You probably cannot see it, but once it expands, you'll see it here in the jar. So I'm going to fill this up with water and throw the snake in there. I'm going to paint his eyes with a Sharpie. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but you'll never know if you don't try. So I painted his eyes black. Now squeeze him in here. And he kind of bends a little, so slide him in, bend his shoulders forward. Right, that dude is in there, nice and tight, so when he swells up, it's going to look nice and creepy. So we got this one ready. Putting the snake in here, face down. Just kind of like squish it in. And for this guy, I have this little jar. So that should be really interesting. So there it is. I'm going to paint the inside of the nose black, see if maybe that'll work. There you go. Right, another trick I like to use, as you can see the water's nice and nasty. It's not clear, and it makes it look even creepier. All I use is food coloring, right? So, move this out of the way. So for this one, I'm just going to add some water. And let's put a drop of green, I think. And just one is enough. This food coloring goes a long way. And if you put too much, it'll make the water not clear anymore, and you won't be able to see your cool stuff in your jars. Yellow. Let's cap it up. Nice and tight. Get a little shake. See him? Right, so we're going to set that aside, and let's go ahead and fill this guy up and this guy up. Alright, for this guy I want it to be kind of brown, and for brown all you need is like half a drop of green and half a drop of red. Try a little bit of red, and this will be nice nasty brown. Make sure it's sealed good, give it a shake. Let me turn this light on. You see that guy in there? Alright, so we have two so far. We have the green one and the skeleton. Last but not least, let's do the snake. Let's cap these guys nice and tight. I'm going to set them up with a time lapse. One thing that I did to make these things look a little bit more authentic and cool is I printed some labels. Those are the same ones I used on my jar of eyeballs I showed you earlier. These are available on my website, but here's the direct download. It's just monstertutorials.com/free labels. Go there, it's a PDF, you print it. So I printed them on my printer. I went in the kitchen and used coffee grounds from this morning, plus 3 bags of like the really cheap tea that is old and dried up. It doesn't taste good anyway. So I threw all that stuff into the carafe and brewed some water through it. And then once that brewed, I took a baking dish, a baking pan, and I put it there, poured the stuff in there, and put the page in there. I only left it in there for like 8 minutes, took it out, laid it on top of a little towel to dry, and now it's nice and dry. So let's cut these up. And we have some labels. So I have regular vintage labels, and I have some security seals. And all you do is, if you want a security seal, just glue it like that, right? And if you want the label, just take your clown, decide which side you want to cover, maybe up here, something that doesn't cover the whole face, and glue it there. So I'm going to save these for those jars that we've been making. And the last technique, which I think is super cool, and this is what I made with it, if you can see that, it's like a salamander, is I went to Walmart, and this was a suggestion from somebody here, of the subscribers that left a comment about a year ago. He said, go and get some of those fishing soft baits. So I said, that's a great idea. So I went and got these guys, like some sort of crawfish, right? And I also got some salamanders. These guys right here, which look like this. Like that, right? So I picked the colors that look the most natural. However, if you're doing like a zombie scene, or if you're doing some sort of like a lab experiment, you can use something neon, like this thing, you know, as your specimen. I picked these because they're the most natural looking. They look real, they look very organic. So, but we can also modify this, and that's what we're going to do. Now for this one, I want the lizard with 2 heads, so almost like a dragon. So I'm going to lop the head off, I'm going to cut an angle, I'm going to get another head and glue them. Now I didn't know what kind of plastic this was, so I did a little bit of research, and on the internet it said that that is just regular soft plastic. It has some sort of lubricant on top that we have to take off. It's kind of nasty, but it's soft plastic and you can glue it with super glue. And I was, you know, the whole thread on the forum was like, how do you repair one of these? And in my head I'm thinking, why would you want to repair that? It's like disposable, you throw it away. It's like repairing a Q-tip after using it, to me at least. But I'm sure they have good reasons for it, but there was how to repair it, thank God. So we know what to do. And the best glue for it, they said, was plain super glue. So that's what we're going to do. So let's chop this guy up. Let's play Dr. Frankenstein. So I found this one that is missing an arm. So I'm going to use that one as my head donor. All you do is take a knife and lop the head off. Take the other one and lop the head off as well. Okay, so I'm going to take both heads and just cut them at an angle. And these 2 heads can get glued together like that. Then they need to have a flat area for the body to get glued in. So let me cut a flat area. There we go. All right, let's get some glue. Okay, put a drop of glue. That should be bonded, and then some on the body right here. Now while that dries, what I like to do is take these hands and cut them in half. So they have like 4 hands, and all you have to do is just cut right there and slice along the arm. Look at that, 4 arms. So the same with the legs, and then the tail. So now we have a 2-headed, 2-tailed and four-legged salamander. So let me show you how I like to set this up so that it stays in the position that you like it. Okay, so this one I'm going to use the little aquarium, okay? And the trick here to keep this, sometimes this works, but sometimes it just gets liquefied. But I use, on this one it worked perfectly. That salamander is stuck there in that position. I'm going to put a label on it. But the secret is hand sanitizer. Just get some from the dollar store. Just pour it in there. Now, for this one I want it to look like an aquarium, so I'm going to use 1 drop of blue and 1 drop of green food coloring. Now all you do is take your little stir stick and start stirring it until you get the color that you want. Right? Now just take your little critter or salamander, just going to carefully place it kind of where I want it, and then use a toothpick to just put it in the exact position that you want. And the trick here, as you can tell, is that since this is nice and thick, it'll hold the creature in the position that you want. So you can pose it whichever way you want. Right. I don't know if you can see it, but there it is with the 2 heads. Right, and then you can position it whichever way you want with the bifurcated tail and everything. So this is more like an aquarium rather than a specimen jar, but it works awesome. It's nice and creepy. You have a special creature, almost like from a science fiction novel. This one's cool, so let's put that aside. Then using that same method of chopping up the lure, I took the little crawfish and cut like 5 or 6 tentacles and made it look like a specimen in a little bottle. Just a little plastic bottle. Now let's go back to that time lapse of the grow in water creatures. Let's put these jars together. So I'm going to put some names for the different things we made. So the snake, for example, I'm going to call it a swallowtail cobra. Pick whatever names you like. Quantity 1. There you go, swallowtail cobra. Salamander. So I'm going to glue all the labels and we should be almost done. Then I can show you all the jars that we created. I did a bunch of these labels for the jars and I put them on a shelf over there, which I will show you in a second. Now check how big this guy's got. They're huge. Anyway, that right there is Penelope. I put her there for Halloween. Happy Halloween. She's supposed to be peeking out at the neighbors, but it looks like she's twerking on me. Right, let's go check out those jars. They turned out excellent and super easy. I knocked about 10 of them in less than a day. So before we go to that, don't forget at the end of the video, give it a thumbs up if you like it, share it with your buddies, and happy Halloween. I'll see you next time. Let's see those jars.